Hi and welcome. My name is Julianne Cost, and in this episode of The Complete Picture, we're going to be taking a look at how we can use smart objects, plus the stack mode called Mean, and layers and masking in Photoshop in order to combine multiple frames from a video into a single still image that appears to be as if it's a long exposure, yet still freezes motion. I'll start in Photoshop by choosing File and then Open. Navigate to my video clip and then open it in Photoshop. We can see that Photoshop has opened up the timeline panel, and in the layers panel I have a new video group with this video clip in it. Now before I play this video, I'm going to right click on the video and then choose audio and just mute the audio. Now I can tap the spacebar in order to play the video, or I can use the current time indicator in order to scrub through the video. If I want to change the in or out point of the video, I can either click and drag on the in point or on the out point, or I can right click if I know the duration that I want the clip to be. In this case, I'm going to set that to 10 seconds. And now we can see as we scrub through it, it's much shorter, only lasting those 10 seconds. So I'd like to export an image sequence of about 50 images. So at this point, I'm going to choose File, and then Export, and then Render Video. Now, instead of rendering a video, I'm going to choose the Photoshop image sequence. We can then select a format as well as change those settings. Because I only need 50 images, I'm going to change the frame rate down to 5 frames per second and then select a folder in order to render these images. Once I choose Render, Photoshop will go ahead and start exporting that image sequence. Once Photoshop is finished, I'm going to load those files into a single document by choosing File and then Scripts, and then Load Files into Stack. I'll choose Browse, navigate to that image sequence, select all of the images, and click Open. I'll want to be sure that once Photoshop has loaded all of these images into a single document, that it creates a smart object from all of those layers. We can see in the Layers panel, Photoshop is starting to bring in all of those different images, and when it's finished, it's going to select all of those layers and convert all of the layers to a single smart object. Now, in order to blend all of those layers that are within that smart object, I'll choose Layer, Smart Objects, then Stack Mode, and choose Mean. Now, while I think this looks interesting, really it just looks like I made a long exposure in the camera. So in order to make something more unique, I'm going to add a few still frames to this document. In order to view both images, I'll choose Window, and then Arrange, and then Tile. I'll tap Z to select the Zoom tool, hold down the Option key to zoom out, and hold down the Shift key in order to zoom all of the windows. Then I'll use the Move tool and select the video clip document. I'm going to start scrubbing through the timeline, and what I'm looking for is a frame in this video clip where the waves are crashing against the arch. So I'm going to go ahead and set my out point way down there, and then we'll go ahead and keep scrubbing. And I like that wave right over here on the left side. So at this point, I'll do a quick select all, and then edit copy. That'll copy this frame to the clipboard. I'll move over to the untitled document and use Command V in order to paste that as its own layer. That's Control V on Windows. Then I'm going to do that 1 or 2 more times. I'd like a nice still wave right around here, so I'll just scrub through the timeline until I see something that I like. Hoping there might be a little bit bigger of a wave, maybe right there. So now that everything is already selected, I can just use Command C or Control C on Windows to copy that, move to the other document, and use Command V to paste it. All right, let's try to find one more crashing wave over here on the right-hand side. I'll just move forward in the timeline, and I like that one right there. So again, Command or Control C, and then we will paste that. Okay, I'll choose Window and then Arrange, and then change this back to Consolidate all two tabs and just zoom in using Command plus. All right, let's hide layer 3 and layer 2. I'll target layer 1, and then I want to add a layer mask, but I want the mask to be black so that it hides the contents of the layer. So I'll hold down the Option key on the Mac or the Alt key on Windows and click the mask icon. Then I'll tap the B key to select my brush, and if I tap the X key so that white is my foreground color and start painting right over here, I can paint in that area of that layer. If you paint too much and you need to paint some of the layer out, we can always tap the X key. That will swap my foreground and background color. So now I can come in maybe with a little bit bigger or a brush, or maybe you might want to decrease the opacity and just paint that out. All right, let's go to layer 2. I will target it, make it visible, and Option or Alt click to add the layer mask. And then using the brush, I'll tap the X key to make sure that my foreground color is white, get a little bit smaller of a brush, and start painting in that layer mask to reveal the frozen motion in that layer. All right, finally we'll go to layer 3. Again, make it visible, Option or Alt click on the layer mask, making sure that I'm painting with white. I'll start painting in this area right here to reveal the frozen water. Excellent. Two things that I'm noticing. One, I don't think I'm making use of the full dynamic range of this image. So from the bottom of the layers panel, I'm going to add a curves adjustment layer and just scoot over my black point as well as my white point in order to use the entire dynamic range and build a little bit more contrast. And also the horizon is bothering me. It's not quite straight. So in the layers panel, I will select all of my layers, use Command T on Mac, Control T on Windows to do a free transform. Just rotate that ever so slightly. And then I'm also going to need to make it a little larger. So just hold down the Option key to drag from the center in order to scale that up so that it will fill the canvas. I'll tap Return or Enter in order to apply that. And just before we wrap up, I wanted to show two additional examples. I'm going to move to Lightroom Classic. Here is a video clip taken in a Hong Kong market. I really like the taxi there. I also really like the woman who appears on the left side of the frame here. And a little further down, I like the man walking. So I did the same technique in order to create this image right here. And finally, here we have our last example. I have this image here of some horses which were taken from a moving bus. Never really could find anything to do with the clip until I tried this technique. And we can see I actually ended up with 3 very different images, just depending on where I exported the first image sequence from the clip and what image I used as a still image to paste on top of it as kind of my hero image for that blurred background. Of course, you can also use this technique using still images instead of video. In fact, using still images from a time lapse, for example, may give you the added benefit of a higher resolution source file. I'm Julianne Kost. Thanks for watching.